Hello and welcome to the Duffys Deliver podcast. I'm your host, Luciano Duffy.
And I'm Clayton Duffy.
And if you don't know us, we are your one-stop shop for delivering all foods. We both work for Instacart and DoorDash. Today we will be introducing our first segment called How Does That Taste? And sharing some of our delivery stories.
Used to carry all the groceries in one trip. Hercules. Simply made it make on in one sip. Too much dip on my chip. Stiff on my jig to get my lip on. Used to carry all the groceries in one trip. Simply made it make on in one sip. Too much dip on my chip. Stiff on my jig to get my lip on.
First up, we have How Does That Taste? This segment, we're going to tell you some stories about our deliveries, and it's ranked on 4 tiers. The top tier is savory. This means this order was a home run. Tasted really good. This is a really good experience that we had, and this is a long-term positive effect. The next tier is sweet. This is the step below savory, and it's a short-term positive effect that we had during an order. The third tier, salty. This is a short-term negative effect that we had while in our deliveries. This is a small bad experience. And the bottom tier, the fourth tier, the absolute worst tier is sour. This is the bad of the bad. This is long-term negative effects. We're going to start with Clay. He's going to tell us a little story, and I'm going to rank it if it's savory, sweet, salty, or sour. So now over to Clay.
Thank you, Luciano. So I have an interesting story. I'm going to preface it with the fact that where Luci and I live, there's kind of 2 grocery stores that are equidistant from where we are. Two great grocery stores. We'll get into more about the different grocery stores later, but there's 2 ideal grocery stores that we like to go to. They're about equidistant. Would you say about equidistant from where we are?
Yeah, probably about equidistant. Same amount of mileage.
So I was doing an order at one of the grocery stores, the one specifically in our town. And the other night, actually, my older brother, he's not part of the podcast, Trent, shout out Trent.
What up, Trent? Thanks for the mic.
So he tells me that he's got a Zoom happy hour or whatever, and he wants me to pick up some beers for him so that he can, enjoy a beer during his happy hour. I'm like, yeah, sure, I can send you over some pics while I'm working tomorrow, and I'll let you know if I see anything I like. I'll send you a picture. You got to respond to me and tell me if you like it. He's like, all right, sounds good. So I do my first order pretty early in the morning, around 8:30, and so he doesn't necessarily wake up for it, but I see this mango IPA. I don't even remember what it was, but it looked like something that he would like. So I sent him a quick picture of it at the first grocery store I was at, and he doesn't respond. I'm like, oh, he's sleeping. I do the delivery, whatever. It was a fine order, not really anything exciting about it.
Okay.
But then I pick up a second order, and this is where things get interesting. I pick up the second order, and he texts me, and he says, oh, that looks great. Get that for me. So I'm all excited. I know I'm heading back to a grocery store nearby me, and I'm excited to pick up this beer for him. And so I pull up to the grocery store, and I swipe to accept the batch. Mm-hmm. That's how it works. And it has the location on your phone, so it can tell you where you are. And so I get a pop-up message, a message that I've never seen before, that says, you're at the wrong store.
No way.
Yeah. And I'm kind of freaking out a little bit. Not really freaking out, but I already got a reminder at this point, and yeah, the stores are equidistant from where we live, but from each other, they're a little bit further, obviously.
A little triangle.
Right, you got to go back on the highway. So I'm like, oh, And so it comes up with this message, and it says, I wish I screenshot it, but it says, like, do you still want to shop? And it just says yes or no. So I didn't know if I clicked yes, that meant yes, I want to go to the other store and do the shopping, or yes, I'll just shop here, or no, I want to cancel my batch, or no, I'll just shop here. I had no idea which to press. I was kind of like bugging a little bit. I had no idea what to press. And so I just ended up hitting yes, because yes is clearly bolded, and
Oh, it's
no
probably
is,
in green, yeah.
Yeah, it's green, bold letters, like yes, or it's like no. So I'm like, I'll hit the yes. And I'm so worried about getting to this other grocery store that I get back into my car and start driving away.
Oh my gosh.
And so at this point, this seems pretty, like, salty.
Yeah, I'd be pretty salty right now.
And, like, almost trending towards sour if I end up losing this order, because this is a pretty solid order.
Mm-hmm.
And so I end up looking closer at the app, and it shows me that I'm, like, able to be shopping right now.
Yeah.
So I realized that it's allowing me to shop at the original grocery store that I was at.
Mm-hmm.
So I pull a Yui, get back into the parking lot, and I just end up doing the order at the other grocery store, which is bizarre to me because that means at any time, if you wanted to shop at one store and not the other, you could just do that as long as they're the same
type of store.
Right, they're the same franchise.
The same grocery store. Yeah, I got you.
But so during this order, there's like a couple things I can't find and a couple things that I have to like either replace or, they're out of stock. And all I can think about during the whole time is if I was at the other grocery store, I feel like they would have had these things. And now my tip is going to get reduced because I can't find these certain things. So overall, what do you think? How do you think I ended up?
I don't know. I got one question for you. During that order, did the aisle switch up on you or how did that work?
No, it was... So that's a great question because typically at one of these stores, the bread is in aisle 3 and the other one, the bread's in like aisle 14.
Yeah, naturally.
So it was able to recognize and switch to the right aisles. So it was just like I was supposed to be shopping at that store.
Wow. And you were able to complete the order? Customer was happy?
100%.
Sounds like a Sour Patch Kid to me. That sounds like, what's the slogan of the Sour Patch Kid? First sour, then sweet? It sounds like you were trending negative here. You were chewing on that Sour Patch Kid. You were making the stench face. Oh, that's nasty. Had a little sweet ending to it. Completed the order. Ultimately, no harm, no foul on the customer side. I think you hit about 3 of these. You went salty, then a little bit of sour. But I think you were trending toward the sweet side by the end of that order.
I think I ended sweet as well. I think that anytime that you complete the order, get paid is always a positive. Maybe I could have made more money or done it more efficiently if I was in the original store that I was supposed to be at.
Mm-hmm.
But I did drop it off successfully. I did end up getting the beers for Trent, so that's a success.
Wow, sounds like 2 wins to me.
And I guess I'll never know if I would have gotten the right things if I went to the store that I was supposed to go to. So
yeah, we'll never know. As I always say, at the end of the day, we do this for the customers. So if the customer was happy and you still didn't get a bad rating, I think it's a win in my book at the end of the day.
I honestly have no idea if the person knew that I was at the wrong store. I still don't know. They didn't say anything to me when I got there, so I think it counts as a win.
Dropped off the bags, said your piece, walked away. It's a great story, Clay. Way to kick us off in this segment.
You got it.
All right, now I'll go over to my story. So to tally that up, Clay's original story, I'm gonna give it an overall sweet. For ranking it, I would agree it's a sweet. Would you agree with that ranking, Clay?
I'd say sweet.
So Clay on the leaderboard with 1 sweet for this episode.
Let's go.
So my story, I woke up early. It was a Tuesday. I woke up and I was like, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna get all these batches. I'm gonna make all these people happy. I'm gonna just go for it. I did my first 2 orders, crushing the day. I'm seeing these batches, I'm swiping. I'm making everyone happy. And then I'm over a couple towns over and I see this order for BJ's. And I don't know if any of y'all go to BJ's or have Costco or BJ's memberships. We're not big BJ's Costco fans.
Not at all.
Our parents never got a membership growing up. Honestly, I didn't step foot into the stores until I started Instacarting. So I'm like, hey, I'll be the man of the people. I'll take this BJ order. It's looking like a pretty good order. It's a double order. I'll get these people the groceries and, I'll suck it up for this one. So I swipe it without, looking at where the distance is because, that's my big claim to fame is Clay always says this to me. What do you always say, Clay?
I always say you always check the items, you always check the price, but you never check the distance. And in my opinion, the distance is a big factor in determining if I'm going to accept an order or not.
Yeah, see, my problem sometimes I run into is I get drawn in by the items and sometimes that price tag, and I don't really look at the distance. So, I accept this order and I'm like, all right, let's go to BJ's. So I'm already kind of over there because my drop-off was relatively close. So I pull up to BJ's, park the car, walk in, show my personal BJ's membership that you get through Instacart. I get in the doors, and this double order, this one customer, they wanted some bread, some produce, some groceries, and the other customer, they wanted some Lysol wipes and some Lysol spray.
Very different items.
Very different orders. Mind you, this customer only wanted 2 items, okay? So I get in there, and I'm a fish out of water right off the bat. I'm looking like, a kid in the Willy Wonka factory. I have my eyes are wide open. There's electronics, there's pillows, there's clothes. I have no idea where I'm going. So naturally, I start going down some aisles. I get my cart, and I'm like, oh, wow, there's some cleaning supplies down here, down aisles 4 and 5. Let me go see if I can just, bang out this order quickly, get one order done, and then focus heavily on the produce. So I go down aisle 4 and 5, and I'm not seeing anything. Mind you, we are in a global pandemic. So Lysol and sprays, hot commodity right now.
Extreme high demand. I always get so frustrated when someone puts those down on my order because I instantly know I'm going to let them down and they're going to be a little bit disappointed at me, and there's nothing that I can do about it.
Mind you, of course, there's only 2 items, so both of these items are priority items for this person too. So they're up in that gray bubble there. So I'm like, hey, maybe I'm in the wrong spot. Maybe they moved them. I don't know. I'm just trying to get this order right. So I go around and I get this other person. They wanted some meat. They wanted some cheese. They wanted some bread. I get most of everything that they wanted. And then I'm talking to one of the workers because I'm like, hey, can you help me find a couple of these last things? Naturally, I want to get these items for the customer. Let me just ask someone who works there. So they help me finish the one with all the food. And then I'm like, hey, I'm also looking for these wipes and these sprays. I was looking down aisles 4 and 5. Is there anywhere else there would be? And they detailed to me, hey, I haven't seen the sprays in about a month or 2. And the wipes, you might be able to find some if we have any in stock. So I'm like, great. Let me go down there and look. So I'm circling these 2 aisles. I'm just going down and around them, looking for these sprays and these wipes. And I'm the type of person who wants to see the label and be like, okay, they're out of stock before I do anything.
Totally.
I go to refund the items because I can't find them anywhere. And they wanted a different type of wipes. They are wiped out of wipes. Let me tell you.
Yes.
So I don't know if you've ever been in an order and you've refunded everything. Because that's where I'm at right now.
Oh, man.
There are 2 items, and both items have to be refunded. I'm sitting here like, now this is a null order. There's nothing I'm bringing this person. Do I still have to drive to their house? Do I have to get them some? Do I have to find a replacement? I'm lost. So what I do is I refund both items.
Right.
Naturally, refund both items. When I go to refund the second item, they go, oh, wait, this is their last item. Yeah, no kidding, it's their last item. I'm trying to refund it. They're like, you have to call or text the customer. Mind you, I've already been in communication with them. I'm talking to them. I'm like, hey, does this work? Does that work? They're like, no, I want this and this. I'm trying my best to please the customer. They're like, it's fine. We'll just put the order in for tomorrow and you can be done with it. I'm like, okay, I got the go-ahead for the customer to cancel the order. I'm good. So I get to the screen and it says, you have to call or text the customer. And I'm like, all right, I already did.
Right.
So then I get past that screen and they're like, okay, you have to talk to Instacart customer service.
Oh, boy.
Instacart customer service, we love them. But sometimes when you're in a crunch, they don't always operate at the optimal fastest speed. Can you agree with me?
Totally. I have plenty of stories about Instacart support, but
So I get into this chat and they're like, what can I do you for today? And I'm like, I don't know. Honestly, they forced me into this. I'm trying to cancel this order. I'm trying to refund both items. The customer doesn't want these items. Can you help me? They're like, okay, we can help you. Can I get the name of the person? So I'm like, okay. The name is boop. And they're like, okay, we see the order. We have to talk to the customer. And I'm like,
are you kidding?
I talked to them. They told me they don't want the item. I talked to them. They're like, no, we have to talk to them. So I'm way over my goal time now. Absolutely just not doing anything good for my items per second. So I'm like, okay, let me get in line to check out. So maybe I can, speed up the process of the one order while I try to deal with the customer support on the other order. And there's not many lanes open. And there's a lot of self-checkouts. And I'm like, I'm not going self-checkout. I don't know this store. I don't know how the codes work. I'm just going to go to a lane.
Yeah. First time at BJ's and trying to do self-checkout is way too intimidating.
No, definitely not doing it. So I get into line and I load up everything onto the conveyor belt. And then the person in front of me, they get through. So now I'm up. But with BJ's, you can't start a checkout without a BJ's card. Because they want you to have the rewards membership. You need one to get in the door and you need one to check out. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, here's the issue. I can't pull up my BJ's card because I'm still talking to
Instacart support. No.
So I can't end the order. And if I end the order, that's when I can go to the checkout screen and show them the card. So here I am. This poor lady, I had to explain this all to her. And I could tell she's not really getting it, but I'm trying to explain to her. I'm telling her it's Instacart. And there's this other young gentleman. He was probably in training that day. I was like, I am so sorry. This is my first time in this establishment. I'm just trying to, help someone out and bring them the groceries. So they end up calling over, someone above them, a manager, to help fix the issue. I finally get through to her to explain, hey, here's my situation. I'm trying to get through to customer support to cancel this order, and I can't. And once I do that, that's when I'm able to show you my card and check out. Eventually, the manager comes over. Mind you, 3 different parties have gotten behind me in line, see that I haven't been moving and heard my situation, and turned around and gone to a different line.
Oh, yeah.
3 different parties. They want no part of this lane.
Obviously, you're almost at Karen status right now, calling over the manager.
I know. I'm really creating a logjam at this BJ's, let me tell you. So finally, the manager comes over, and I'm like, okay, here's my situation. And I'm talking to her, and I'm trying to show her through the app. And as I'm talking to her through the app, it slowly just opens up for me. And I'm like, and now that you're here, I can check out. And while she was just standing there, I was able to pull up my BJ's card. Of course.
Classic.
She did zero work. She just walked over here. I wasted her time. And I was like, okay, well, here it is. Here's my card. And so they scanned my card, and then they checked me all out. And then one of my bags of cheese broke. So they're like, oh, we're going to have to get you a new...
Shredded cheese?
No. It was one of the deli cheeses.
Oh, jeez.
Those Ziploc plastic bags. They're like, oh, we're going to have to go get you a new bag. So the manager had to go over and get me a new bag to put the cheese in. They had to bag me all up. And I'm like, oh my God, the situation. So eventually, I finally get checked out. I get my BJ's card. They sign my receipt, right? Because that's what they got to do at BJ's.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my God. I'm 3 orders in. I'm kind of hot. And I know BJ's and Costco usually have some cheap water. So I bought my wallet in, and I turn around the corner, and there's this big Poland Springs.
A gallon?
No. It was one of those vending machines. A big Poland Springs vending machine. All they were selling was Poland Springs and some seltzer, some San Pellegrino or whatever it is.
Wait, it's a vending machine? Like a Coke vending machine?
Yes, but it only has Poland Springs and that seltzer.
Okay.
And so I'm like, oh, this is great. But here's when the kicker comes in. So it is 50 cents for a bottle of water. I was like, great. I'm going to put $1 in. I'm going to get two bottles of water. I put my $1 in, and I could pick any numbers, right? Because B 1 through 9, or A, B, C, D 1 through 9, all had Poland Springs water. It was all the same, right?
Totally.
Put my dollar in. I put C5. Why did I pick C5? I don't know. Clay and my baseball number was 5. I don't know. I was just feeling C5 that day.
Yeah.
I put it in. 2 quarters. Shoot out of the vending machine. Okay, here are my quarters. No water comes out. The little thing moves and then closes up, but no water comes out. I'm like, oh my god, that's great. So I guess just C5 is broken, right? I pick up my 2 quarters and I'm like, alright, let me try this again. Put my 2 quarters in, put in a different number. Nothing, same exact thing happens. Nothing comes out. Here I am, out one of the dollars I made from the day before. You know that story with one of the single dollars I got as a cash tip. Here I am, out $1, and I'm so just frustrated. And I still have to drive the food.
And there's no bags at BJ's.
There's no bags at BJ's.
So you have to, it's such a tedious process loading it into your car.
Yes. So then I plug in the location for my destination, and I drive.
To the first house or the second house?
Well, there is no second house now because I refunded the order.
I didn't know. I was a little worried for where the story was going.
So I plug in the place. It's a business. So it came up with the business address.
Right.
And I get to the place, and it's these cute little shops, right? And I'm like, oh my god, I have the number, but what's the address? And I'm like, oh, it says the shop right here. So I park my car, I walk into this place. It's this cute little, bakery, cookies, what have you, shop. And I'm parked way in this parking lot, like way far away from the place. So I walk up to it, and I'm like, hey, I'm here for Instacart. And she's like, oh, great. You can pull around back and we'll just load you up in the back. So I was like, okay. So I pull my car around and I put everything in there, and I'm absolutely wiped at this point. I'm down money because I'm a whole order. I was like, I don't even know how much I'm going to make this order. But fortunately, this lady was super nice. She was like, do you want any water? And usually I say no in these situations, but I was so thirsty. I was like, she's like, want anything to drink? I was like, yeah, I'll just take a water or whatever you have. She goes, oh, actually, I have this peach tea that we've been drinking back here.
Ooh.
So she gave me this half peach tea, half lemonade, and this little to-go cup, threw a bunch of ice in there. It was very gracious to me. And then I got back to my car and I just sat in the AC and I was like, what an order.
What an order indeed. That is another absolute roller coaster of emotions.
Real roller coaster there. So Clay, how do you think that tastes? How does that taste?
Well, I bet that peach tea tasted pretty darn sweet.
Oh my god, it was so sweet. I swear nothing tasted better than that peach tea that day.
Do you know what your compensation was for the order that was 100% canceled?
I don't think I lost that much money on it because it was only 2 items, and I believe the drop-off was relatively closer to the grocery store than the second drop-off was. So I don't remember what the exact dollar amount was before and after, but I still made a large chunk of my tip and Instacart payment.
So because you're still able to make that money and not even have to, you had to go through a process in order to get that, between being stuck on the chat mode and looking for a significant amount of time in order to find those items. It still, I think, was a net even at the worst, but slightly positive. Plus your second order, I would say, was a big positive. So I'd say that was pretty sweet. I don't know if it was savory. I think it might have been savory if maybe you were able to get that water right away, or maybe you were able to ask right away about the Lysol wipes. But I would say overall, sweet order.
Yeah, I feel like both of our stories kind of took the same roller coaster where, at one point we were just salty, mad at our order in the short term, and then we were like, oh my god, this is the worst order ever. But then, there was just some cherry on top of both of our orders that really just pushed them to that sweet side. And that's why we love doing it. We love our sweet orders. We love pleasing the customers. We love driving all around, picking up whatever people need to keep up their businesses, keep up their families, and that's really why we do it. How do you feel about all that?
I feel great. I feel like we both got some good stories rattled off. And interacting with people and there's different orders, that's part of the job. But I think also part of the job is obviously picking out the items. And I don't know about you, Luke, but there are sometimes items that I pick out that I do not understand why these people get these items.
Yeah, that might be a future segment. Is what are you getting and why are you getting that thing? And on top of that, some of these people pick out these really crazy, obscure items and then have totally random replacements for them. It's like, how does this thing relate to that thing? Do you like the brand? Do you like the item? Like, what are you going for here? And I feel like sometimes people, they say they want this thing, then they want that thing, and then they want that thing. So definitely, picking out those items can be so tricky sometimes. Especially when you're shopping and you don't eat these foods, or, they're organic, or they're, in a different spot, or, Clay and I, we don't provide for the family. We're not going and shopping every day. But it's definitely been very interesting looking for these, unique items.
I have a couple items off the top of my head that I shopped at recently that I want to rattle off. I want to hear your opinion on them. Are you ready for them?
Yeah, let's do it. We'll call this segment Unique Items.
Unique items. I like it. All right, my first unique item of the past week. This person ordered gravy.
Hot gravy? Or it was in a can? Or it was in a jar?
It was in a jar.
Okay.
But I think what was most surprising to me is that it's July. And gravy, to me, is a comfort food. Mashed potatoes, turkey, Thanksgiving. Something you eat when it's cold out, warms your belly, warms your throat a little bit. Who, in their right mind, orders gravy in July?
Yeah, we have experienced some of the hottest days over here. We're touching 90, 100 degrees. I definitely agree with you. When I think of gravy, I think of that Thanksgiving dinner. I think of football season. I think, man, I love being inside. Who wants hot gravy or hot soup in the beating summer that we're having?
Not me. So that was just bizarre to me. And they also didn't get anything that it seemed to pair with. Like,
no compliments.
No potatoes, no turkey. And what else do you put gravy on?
I don't know, stuffing, but here I'm grabbing at straws for my Thanksgiving vibes that I'm now feeling that you're bringing me.
I know, I could go for some Thanksgiving food because it sounds tasty, but I think if it was sitting in front of me, I don't know how hungry I'd be for it.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do a turkey and some cranberry sauce and stuffing right now.
Another unique item. So I think everyone's experienced frozen waffles before. We've had frozen waffles a lot growing up.
Yeah, you got your Eggos, you got your healthier ones. Everyone's had a frozen waffle once in a while.
This person wanted frozen pancakes. How are we feeling about frozen pancakes?
Me, I'm a huge pancake guy. I am team pancake over waffles. Don't even talk to me about French toast. I am pancakes, ride or die. That being said, I could be the biggest pancake lover in the world. I would not put one of those in the microwave, in the toaster, in the toaster oven. Where are you putting that pancake? How are you reheating that pancake? You're not firing up a skillet and heating it.
I hope not.
Like what? And then they come in a stack? What are they going to be stuck together? Is there a little plastic in between the pancakes? Are they thick? Are they thin? Do they already have chocolate chips in them? Like what were they?
It was hard to tell because it was in a cardboard box and they were frozen, obviously.
Gotcha. Yep.
But it was hard for me to justify because, in my opinion, in terms of waffles, you need a waffle maker and not everyone has waffle makers. I get that. But to make pancakes, you literally just put it on the skillet or pan, griddle, whatever you decide to use.
Whatever you want.
A lot of different.
I don't care.
A lot of things you can make pancakes with, and then you flip them, and then they're done. Pancakes are one of the easiest foods that you can make, so to buy them frozen seemed a little bizarre to me.
Yeah, I couldn't see the dynamics of having a frozen pancake. I don't think I would want a frozen pancake. Even if they're a stack, 10 high, with the best Vermont maple syrup right next to me of frozen pancakes, and it was early in the morning, breakfast, my favorite meal, I don't think I would enjoy them. I don't think I'd enjoy them.
Aunt Jemima's, just to add water, it's really not that hard.
No, it's not. Put a little spoon in it, stir it up. My 6-year-old niece could do it.
Easily.
Easy.
Another unique item, and this one I can kind of justify a little bit more, but for me personally, it's just not for me. OJ that has lots of pulp in it.
Oh, I got this OJ the other day. I think they called it home style.
Yes.
Something like that?
Something like that.
It was the Tropicana, and it had like this brownish, grayish little top on it, and it was like extra pulp. I swear, when I picked up this bottle of clay, I could see the pulp was just all clumped together, just rise to the top. And I was like, I'm for one, just don't really like OJ to begin with. But then you add little, shards of orange to it?
Yeah.
Home style. I saw that for the first time and got it, and I was pretty disgusted.
I understand the appeal of you want the fresh squeezed and you want that feeling of the fact that someone squeezed the oranges to make your perfect little OJ instead of thinking about it being processed in some factory in Florida or
a little taste.
Wherever Tropicana is, California.
Yeah.
I just don't and I understand a little pulp to just get that feeling in the throat, but it was way, 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 way too gross for me to even kind of think about. It was not about that.
Nah, definitely. I would not pour myself a glass of one of those either. I'd have to shake that up a lot first.
That's about it for my unique items.
It's a pretty good list. If you're looking for an all-star breakfast, I think it would consist of a glass of extra pulp OJ, a fat stack of frozen pancakes, and forget the maple syrup. Just throw some gravy on it.
Throw some gravy. All-star breakfast right there.
That's what I'll have on Saturday morning. I think I'll have the best day of working. And I think I'll get all the orders, and I'll please everyone, and just get so many 5-star ratings. I think that is the key. That is the breakfast of champions.
I don't remember if the gravy and the frozen pancakes were in the same order, but maybe that's what they were for. You can't knock it till you try it. People say don't yuck my yums or don't yuck someone else's yums. We're all about yucking yums
here. We are going to yuck all your yums. If you have any yums, I will be the first one to judge it. And I know Clay will be right behind me, judging all of your yums.
So, I've had Parmesan cheese on my pancakes, and that surprisingly came out pretty tasty. It was not something I would have ever tried if I didn't have those resources, but maybe I just haven't tried gravy on my pancakes.
With those Parmesan cheesecakes, did you have those with chocolate chips, with the blueberries, or were those plain pancakes with almost powdered sugar amounts of Parmesan cheese just dazzled on top?
It was more on that powdered sugar type side. I think that when you think about powdered sugar on pancakes, you get this perception of a southern breakfast that's absolutely doused in powdered sugar. And we only kind of sprinkled a little bit of Parmesan, but it was really tasty. It was almost like a garlic bread, but not really with the garlic taste, obviously, but more just like a soft bread that had a little bit of cheese on it.
I don't know if I'm running to that example or running to that breakfast anytime soon either. Maybe you could take that Parmesan cheese and have it with your gravy. I don't know about that one.
I'll have to cook it for you sometime. Maybe next week we'll have your official review on. We call them cheesecakes.
Call them cheesecakes
because they're pancakes with a little bit of cheese.
But there's something out there already called the cheesecake.
No, not cheesecake. Cheesecakes.
Okay, but if I went to the store and bought multiple cheesecakes, what would I be calling them? Would I be getting just...
You'd be getting a lot of cheesecake.
Okay. Well, I don't know. You're kind of hijacking that name over there with cheesecakes.
Cheesecakes.
2 words.
2 words.
2 words. Cheesecakes. Interesting. Was there any filling in there? Any chocolate chips? Any blueberries? Nothing. It was just plain, probably white flour pancakes.
Regular Bisquick, Aunt Jemima, I don't know. Some basic stuff like that.
And then once you put the Parmesan cheese on it, does any syrup go on top of that?
A little syrup if you wanted, but for me, didn't need it.
Didn't need it. Wow. And you know me. I am probably the king of Parmesan cheese. I will take my pizza. I'll take my pasta. I'll take my Italian dish. Luciano, real Italian boy over here. And I will take that Parmesan cheese, and I won't shake until the whole top is covered in Parmesan cheese. The whole top of my meal has to be white with Parmesan cheese because I love it. I love it on my Italian food. And I'm also the biggest breakfast person probably in this household. So if you're putting Parmesan on pancakes, I don't know why I'm skeptical.
Right. Those are two of your top 5 foods, top
Probably.
10.
Probably.
Top 10 easy, top 5 debatable.
Debatable. If we are including toppings, if there's a top 5 topping list and a top 5 food list, both of them are probably in my top 3.
Right.
And they're probably not even number 2 or 3. I'm going to say it.
You think pancakes is your top 1 food?
I think so.
Wow. This is a big change from when you were a kid and it was calzones.
I know. Well, I can't go a day without waking up and eating breakfast. I'm just, hungry from, a great night of sleep, and I need my breakfast. I need something in the morning, and pancakes is always number 1 for me. So if breakfast is my favorite meal, and pancakes are my favorite breakfast meal, I think pancakes have to be my favorite food.
You bring up very valid argument. And you mentioned Parmesan cheese, you put that on all your Italian food. We always joke that it's the food or Parmesan with the side of the pasta.
Always pulling my leg.
Always. So maybe we'll have to try it out this weekend. Don't we can yuck other people's yums, but you can't yuck my yums.
I did, but I think I'm double backing over here. Maybe I'm going to try them out.
We'll see how it goes.
Well, anyway, that concludes our first episode of the Duffys Deliver podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please feel free to share it with your friends. Let us know if there's anything that we should improve on, any segments or ideas that you guys have. If there's fellow deliverers out there, your DoorDash, your Uber Eats, your Instacart, we'd love to have you on the show. Please feel free to reach out to us. We're open to all ideas and suggestions, but thank you so much for listening. We love you guys.
See you later.